Our father Ibrahim alayhi salam is described in many places in the Quran. His story, his sacrifices are set up for us or presented to us as as the ideal way of navigating the ups and downs of life. And we consider him to be our father, not just from the aspect of not just biologically, but spiritually. He was, of course, the father of the Prophet ﷺ. He was a biological ancestor of the Prophet ﷺ. But for the rest of us, even if we're not biological descendants of Ibrahim ﷺ, we consider ourselves to be the spiritual ancestors of him and the upholders of his legacy. Millata abikum Ibrahim, like the Quran describes many, many times, the way of your father Abraham. And for example, we have passages or narrations from the Prophet ﷺ where he describes Ibrahim ﷺ sitting in paradise, and around him are the souls of the kids. And he asked the Prophet ﷺ, he asked Jibreel, who are these kids and who is this old man? And Jibreel said to him, that old man is Ibrahim, and those kids around him are the deceased of the believers. So we consider him to be our spiritual father. He is the one who kafalati Ibrahim. The dua is made for the parent of a deceased child. Then may Allah put this child in the care of Ibrahim. So he is our spiritual father without any doubt. I want to share with you a story of his that's in Surah Maryam, Surah number 19 in the Quran, which describes a very difficult conversation that Ibrahim alayhi salam is having with his own father, with his biological father. And this conversation is very difficult because it is a conversation where the power dynamic is not in its normal structure. You have usually the person who is more powerful dictating terms to the one who is less powerful. You have in negotiations the person who has leverage dictating or taking more than the one who does not have leverage. In this case, the situation is flipped. Ibrahim alayhi salam, the young son, who has really no power, really has no leverage, is the one who's telling his dad what he's doing is wrong. And this, for us, there is a variety of lessons in this passage for us. A few of them I'll share inshallah. Number one is how we should have these difficult conversations. The adab that is required for us as believers to have difficult conversations, particularly if the person we are speaking to is hostile. And number two, how it is incumbent upon us. It is a responsibility for us to practice our deen and spread the message of our deen to the best of our ability. With wisdom, of course. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'izati al hasana. Invite to the way of your Lord with wisdom and a good reminder, and wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. And if you are to argue and make a case, do it in a good way. So these are the two main overarching lessons from this passage. I'll read to you the ayat of Quran and its translation, and then inshallah touch upon a few things. This is from Surah number 19, Surah Maryam, ayah 41. وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ إِنَّهُ كَانَ صَدِّيقًا نَبِيًّا. Mention in the book Abraham. He was a truthful prophet. إذ قال لأبيه يا أبت لم تعبد ما لا يسمع ولا يبصر ولا يغني عنك شيئا. When he said to his father, "O my dear father, why do you worship that which does not hear, that which does not see, that which cannot do anything for you? لا يغني عنك شيئا. يا أبتي, my dear father, إني قد جاءني من العلم ما لم يأتك فاتبعني أهدك صراطا سويا." My dear father, I have received knowledge that you don't have. I have knowledge that you don't have. So follow me and I will guide you to the straight path. يا أبتي لا تعبد الشيطان إن الشيطان كان للرحمن عصيا. Oh my dear father, don't worship the devil. Don't worship Satan. Don't the devil, because he is Satan is an opponent to the most merciful, and has always been an opponent to the most merciful. يا أبتي إني أخاف أن يمسك عذاب من الرحمن. Oh my dear father, I am afraid, and I know that this will happen if you continue, that the punishment of the most merciful will come and envelop you and touch you. فَتَكُونَ لِلشَّيْطَانِ وَلِيًّا, and thus you will end up being with the Satan in the fire hell. قَالَ أَرَاغِبٌ أَنْتَ عَنْ آلِهَتِي يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ. He said, his father said, are you turning away from our idols, O Abraham? Are you turning your back on our idols, from our way? لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ. If you don't stop, I will stone you. وَهْجُرْنِي مَلِيًّا, and leave me alone. قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكَ رَبِّي. Ibrahim said, peace be upon you. Salamun alayk. سَأَسْتَغْفِرُ لَكَ رَبِّي. I will ask my Lord to forgive you. إِنَّهُ كَانَ بِي حَفِيًّا. He's always been very gentle with me. My Lord has always been gentle with me and has always taken care of me. The story continues, but we'll stop here for the sake of brevity and for the sake of commenting on this little passage that we just read. This passage, as you notice, most of it is Ibrahim alayhi salam speaking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala omitted the responses of his father in this passage. Only one response is recorded, which is the very last response. And that is from the hikmah there, the wisdom, Allahu alam, there is that the important part here is the beautiful way Ibrahim alayhi salam is speaking, not the repugnant way his father is responding to him. And that's for us a lesson, that our kindness, our gentleness, our humility, our smile, that is what people will remember. That is what we celebrate for our father Ibrahim alayhi salam. The harshness of his father is not remembered, it's not mentioned. We celebrate the gentleness of Ibrahim, not the harshness of his father. For us, there is a lesson in that, in the way we conduct ourselves with our families. You know, none of our parents are as bad as the father of Ibrahim. None of us are as good as Ibrahim alayhi salam. Okay? So you see how gentle he was, how kind he was, how loving he was. That is for us the way to approach conversations. Always, like the Prophet said, whenever there is gentleness that's added to something, it makes it illa zanahu. It makes it shine out and makes it better. And whenever it's taken away from something, illa shanahu, it makes it worse. So for us, the overarching lesson from our father Ibrahim, his manners, and from our Prophet ﷺ is this kindness and gentleness, and trying to take the side of that, always defaulting to that, and not to harshness. He says to his father that, "O my father, why do you worship that which does not see or hear or can do anything for you?" He is giving us a beautiful He's giving us a beautiful example on how to call people to Islam. He speaks, first he starts by saying, "Ya abati," my father, my dear father. Shows the love and care and concern. Puts it right in the front. That speaks to the heart. That speaks to the heart. And then he speaks to the mind. Logic. Father, why do you do this? It makes no sense. This thing cannot see, cannot hear, can't do anything for you. Why are you then doing this? Speaking both to the heart and the mind. You notice in this passage, if you are reading this, and I encourage you to go home and read the passage to extract your own lessons and receive the blessings of studying the Quran, you notice he would say 4 times, "Ya abati, ya abati, ya abati, ya abati," which is, as At-Tabari describes, is a way of expressing love. Instead of saying "Ya abi," which is my father, "Ya abati" is to show more love and respect. So at the whole time in this conversation, our father Ibrahim alayhi salam is showing the utmost love and respect for his father. The utmost love and respect. And this is the ingredient number 1 for having a difficult conversation. That the love and respect for the other has to be in the forefront. Always. So that the person who is hearing this understands that you are coming from a place of love and care, not from a place of patronizing, not from a place of condensation, looking down on somebody. It is from a place of genuine care. The Arabic word for giving good advice is nasiha. Nasiha. And one of its linguistic origins, in its etymology, you can find that it's the process of purifying honey. The idea being, when you are giving advice, you assume the person is a good person, even if they are doing evil things. It's like they're honey, they're pure, they're good. There's just some impurities added, and now we're trying to filter that out. Ibrahim alayhi salam says to his father, while he's showing the utmost respect to his father, he does not mince words though. What's wrong is wrong. He calls it out. لِمَ تَعْبُدُ مَا لَا يَسْمَعُ وَلَا يُبْصِرُ وَلَا يُغْنِي عَنْكَ شَيْئًا. Respect and love does not mean we beat around the bush and we don't present the facts as they are. Very, very clearly he says, oh my father, number one, this doesn't make any sense. Number two, I know something that you don't. I know something that you don't. I have received revelation that you have not. So follow me, I will guide you. Ya abati, if you do this, you will end up being with the Satan. Your end will be like the end of the devil. That's the path you're heading. Very, very clear, unambiguous words that he uses. And that's the balance in that difficult conversation. While there is love and respect and courtesy and gentleness and kindness, but also the message is delivered clearly, without it being diluted, without it missing its mark. That's what wisdom is, to put things where they belong. Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmah. Wisdom is putting things where they belong, and that's what Ibrahim alayhi salam does. You notice, I'll point out just one small thing here from his example. He's a teenager, by the way, at this time. The passage that is at this point in his life, he's no more than a teen. So this is not some seasoned man who has experienced a lot of life. This is a young man. And it shows when Allah chooses a person and blesses them with the understanding of the scripture, their age, they will have wisdom beyond their age. Here is Ibrahim alayhi salam saying, إِنِّي قَدْ جَاءَنِي مِنَ الْعِلْمِ مَا لَمْ يَأْتِكَ. I have received knowledge that you have not. There is no false humility. There is no false humility here. He's not pretending to be humble. He's being courteous, kind, gentle, but there's no false humility here. He's saying, I know something that you don't know. I am a subject matter expert in this topic. You're not. And this is something, there's an element of this quiet confidence that a believer is supposed to exude. For example, we have this very famous narration where the son of Umar, Abdullah, the great companion, was once sitting with the Prophet ﷺ, and a whole bunch of companions are sitting with the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet asks the question, he's like, which tree, as a metaphor, represents the believer? Okay, which tree represents the believer? The Sahaba started guessing different trees. The Prophet, in another narration, was actually eating the bark of a palm tree, trying to give them the clue. Abdullah bin Umar said, I knew the answer. The Prophet was referring to the date palm tree. But I was shy. I couldn't just give the answer when Umar is sitting there, and Abu Bakr is sitting there, and Uthman is sitting there, and Ali is sitting there. So he felt that shyness to share. And he told his father, Umar, afterwards, that I knew the answer, I just didn't say it. The response of Umar radiallahu anhu is very telling. He says, I would have loved it if you shared the answer. I would have loved it if you, as a young man, as a teenager, had overcome your shyness to share the answer that you knew, to exude the confidence that you should have. That is something that's very important for us. As younger, as older people, that we don't shy away from something that we know really well. And he says this, إِنِّي قَدْ جَاءَنِي مِنَ الْعِلْمِ مَا لَمْ يَأْتِكَ. That's important because to move the conversation forward, a difficult conversation that he's having, this is a requirement. To mention this, that I am talking about this from a place of full understanding. That's why my ideas hold value. Ibrahim alayhi salam gives us this beautiful lesson of how to speak to his father and how to have a conversation that's tough. He shows us that the love and respect has to be in the forefront. Words and ideas cannot be diluted. A person who knows something shouldn't feel shy, shouldn't feel that they have to hold back and pretend they don't know something fully. He says, "Inni qad ja'ani min al-ilm." He expresses these ideas to his father. And then his father responds in a very harsh way, which we'll speak about in the next khutbah. أقول ما تسمعون واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن أما بعد. The passage I was sharing with you all today is the story of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam, where he is, as a young man, telling his father that he has knowledge and revelation, and his father, who is not just a idol worshipper, but the manufacturer of idols, he is actually doing something very wrong, and if he doesn't change his ways, he is going to end up in the fire of hell. إِنِّي أَخَافُ وَيَمَسَّكَ عَذَابٌ مِّنَ الرَّحْمَنِ. I fear that the punishment of the most merciful will come touch you. Very difficult to tell somebody who's wrong that they're wrong. Very difficult, even more difficult, to tell them that that wrong will lead them to the fire of hell. So Ibrahim alayhi salam is doing this most difficult thing while being at a disadvantage. He's younger, his father is older. While being at a disadvantage that he has no leverage. He's just a young boy. His father is the manufacturer of idols, esteemed person in the community, holds all the cards. In this really disadvantageous position, still Ibrahim alayhi salam does an incredible job of conveying the message. And doing justice to that job, doing it with love and care and courtesy, but doing it also fully without mincing any words. The second part, the second overarching lesson I wanted to touch on is the adab, the manners that we are required to have, not just in a hostile situation, but in all situations. If you look at how we're supposed to deal with a hostile situation, which is hopefully not a norm, that would inform how to deal with things that are more normal. Ibrahim alayhi salam's example is presented when he's dealing with a hostile, angry individual. And then the way he deals with him at that point is a lesson for us to deal with difficult conflict, stuff that has escalated, and also when stuff has not escalated, in both situations, in the worst case and the average case. Ibrahim alayhi salam says all that he has to say. And he's genuine, and he is eloquent, and he's respectful. His father is angry. He's threatening violence. He is someone who is trying not to use his words to convince. He's trying to use force to convince. Because the words are weak. The ideas are weak. So then force is substituted to replace, to compensate. He says, لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ. If you don't stop, لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ. At-Tabari says about this, that لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ, that he says, قَالَ الْحَسَنِ يَعْنِي بِالْحِجَارَةِ. Okay, interpretations of pelting. He says the most obvious interpretation, according to Al-Hasan al-Basri, is pelting you with stones. So this is physically harming somebody. And this is not just physically harming just for the sake of harm. It's actually to make an example out of them. لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِ لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ. This idea of a pelting with stones, in the old times particularly, was to make an example out of somebody who had transgressed or overstepped. Ad-Dhahak says, أي البالقول, that I will take you to task, and I am going to be very rough with you in speech, and I will do this publicly and privately. So he's threatening Ibrahim alayhi salam that I'm going to expose you to the community, I am going to embarrass you in front of the community, I will not hold back, which maybe in some ways is even tougher, because wounds, physical wounds heal, but wounds that are left by the tongue often don't heal. And Ibn Abbas says, لَأَضْرِبَنَّكَ, he says, I'm going to smack you. I'm going to hit you physically. All the meanings are, acceptable. Like some words in Quran carry multiple meanings. And that's done intentionally because those meanings are often complementary. This one word, لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهِي, or this one sentence, لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ, I am going to abuse you, I am going to embarrass you, I'm going to expose you, I'm going to make an example out of you. All of these meanings are captured in this one sentence that Allah shares to choose of Ibrahim's father. That is a very hostile response. That is a situation that has escalated beyond control. When that has happened, there is no point in continuing with logic and reason. There is no logic or reason at that point. There is no rationality at that point. At that point, the only thing that matters is to de-escalate the situation. And what does Ibrahim alayhi salam do? He does exactly that. قَالَ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكَ, says, may peace be with you. May Allah give you peace. Salamun alayk. There's many interpretations of what this means according to the Mufassirin. But like Ibn Kathir says, أي أما أنا فلا ينالك مني مكروه ولا أذى. And that's the meaning of salam. He says, I will not harm you. Harm and anything that's despicable, you won't see from me. It won't hurt you. It won't come to you. Okay? That is what salamun alayk actually means. Assalamu alayka or assalamu alaikum, when we say that, it's actually us making a dua for the person and also reassuring them that I'm not going to hurt you. Right? It's ironic someone says salam and then start abusing them. He says that to calm his father down. Also as a dua for him. That may Allah give you peace. And then he says, Astaghfiru laka Rabbi, I will ask my Lord to forgive you and guide you. And that, brothers and sisters, is for us the lesson. That in a situation where people have hurt us, people have perhaps abused us, the thing for us to do, especially when you're in a situation where you can't actually do anything about it. Ibrahim alayhi salam can't do anything. He has to walk away because he has no leverage. The thing that we cannot do is hold grudges. The thing that we cannot do is that person is useless anyway. This person is hopeless anyway. What's the point? That's just reaffirmed my bias. Ibrahim alayhi salam is doing the opposite. He says, may Allah give you peace and I will continue to make dua for you. That, brothers and sisters, is what qalbin salim means. Illa man atallaha bi qalbin salim. Ibrahim alayhi salam is described as having that pure heart, that sound heart. A heart that's been hurt. Right? And these words hurt from anybody. They hurt even more from your own father. But he is showing what it means to have that sound heart, that we don't carry these grudges in our heart. We move on, even when it hurts. We ask Allah to give that person peace. We ask Allah to give us peace. We ask Allah to give us that sound heart so that we can continue moving on. And the conversation and the important cause does not get stopped. This is a few lessons from the life of our father Ibrahim alayhi salam, who as a young man showed wisdom beyond his years, who showed how to have these tough conversations with love and kindness and courtesy, but also with confidence and the right words, not diluting the message, and to not hold any grudges afterwards, to in fact continue to pray for the person afterwards as well, even if the response is not ideal, even if the response is hostile. We ask Allah to give us this kind of akhlaq, these kind of manners. We ask Allah to give us this kind of beautiful, sound heart. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to follow the example of our Prophet Ibrahim and our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabiyya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin fil awwalin wa fil akhirin wa salli ala Muhammadin fil mala'il a'la ila yawmiddin. Allahumma ahyina ala sunnatihi wa mitna ala millatihi wa ahshurna fi zumratihi wasqina min hawdihi ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma ati nufusana taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha anta waliyuha wa mawlaha. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم عليك بالظالمين فإنهم لا يعجزونك. اللهم أهلك الظالمين بالظالمين وأخرجنا من بينهم سالمين. وأقيموا الصلاة.